get it 2 times.
So I got to Dallas the day before the conference with one of my best friends, Shakia. Now, I've been following Sarah Jakes Roberts' journey for quite some time, so we were both really excited. Apparently, so was everybody else, because this was just the line to pick up credentials at the Potter's house. We looked crazy, but we got it done. 40,000 women from all over the world pulled up to Globe Life Field, ready to learn and love and hear from God. Women of all ages and races. It was really a multi-generational, multicultural experience, for real. After some exploring, we made our way to some seats.
Echo of his name that powers through adversity. The echo of his word transcends time. The echo of his love.
With the opening like that, we knew we were in for something special.
Keys for how to thrive in the desert. The first is this: don't plan a funeral where God said to hold a festival. Yeah, see, you're not in that desert place to die. You're in that desert place to dance. My sister, your desert is a training ground. In the desert, you can dance anywhere. Don't plan a funeral where God said to hold a festival. The second key to thrive in the desert is don't allow a bad desert to make a worse Egypt appear better. You see, memory researchers have found that when we are overwhelmed with anxiety, we will create false memories as a coping mechanism. We will start to remember things that didn't even happen. And the last key to thrive in the desert of deliverance is to not allow frustration to become your distraction. You see, the Israelites were only 538 miles from Canaan. And a trip that should have only taken 2 weeks ended up taking 40 years. Why? Because their frustration became their distraction. Some of you should have met your husband 8 months after you left Charles, but because you've been with Tyrone and you've been entertaining Billy Bob and you've been entertaining Nathaniel, you've created distraction, you've created distance between the path that God is trying to deliver you out of and the future that he has promised to you. When you are frustrated, you will become distracted.
Now, before Sarah came out to set the tone for the weekend with her message, we heard from T.D. Jakes, her daddy.
Every woman in here that's got something inside of you that you're fighting to deliver, take the roof off this place and
Then we worshiped.
the blood flows into the heart is dry. There's no oxygen in it, no life. It's given everything it had all over the body and is completely out of breath. Is anybody out of breath?
And after Dr. Anita, it was time. Pause for the cause, though. They did these cute little intro videos for all the guests, and I love them. But anyway. This quote really spoke to me, but all of the notes I managed to take are available at the link in the description if you want them. On today, too.
And then I want to end with this encouragement from Jesus himself. In Matthew chapter 1, we find the lineage of Jesus. It is the only one of his lineages that includes women. It includes 5 women. I don't have time for this now, but all of them had traumatic experiences. And every block described in that lineage is in a generational block of 14. If generational trauma can be passed down 14 generations, I don't believe it was a mistake that my Jesus was the 14th of a set of generations that were filled with trauma. That means when Jesus was born, his biological tree.
So before you go, I'm asking that you would pray over these women, these catalyst women.
Yes.
That they will take care of their hearts.
Well, I wanted to pray for y'all, but I respect the time and my leadership. She's my friend, but right now she's my leadership. Don't forget those things. Father, in the name of Jesus.
After a phenomenal teaching from Dr. Anita, we heard from one of my faves, Brene Brown. She touched on a lot of different things.
Trying to think about where to start. Because if you looked in my high school yearbook, along with all the people, that you X'd out in high school, the way we used to unlike people in the old days, you would see next to my name something that said, the least likely person to ever talk about vulnerability. Oh yeah, no, I'm a 5th generation Texan. Our family motto is literally lock and load. Yeah. And so I was not raised believing that vulnerability was a good thing. And so I spent a lot of my career in the early days trying to convince people, hey, I think there's something here. And the data have a very simple definition of vulnerability. Vulnerability is the emotion we experience in times of uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure. So when we feel uncertain, when we feel at risk, emotionally or physically or mentally, or we feel like we can be emotionally exposed, that's vulnerability. And so it was very hard. People were like, no, fill in the blank. I asked, fill in the blank. Most of us were raised to believe vulnerability is
Weakness.
Weakness, right? If there are 40,000 people here, then statistically, about 36,000 people could come and testify about whether dress rehearsing tragedy worked when they experienced it. And what they will tell you is no. You cannot beat hurt to the punch. But what you can do is you can squander the moments of joy that we need to build a reservoir to land on when hardship hits. Secrecy, silence.
Oh, that's good.
Now you have created an environment that is perfect for shame. So perfect. But if you put the same amount of shame in that petri dish and you douse it with just a little bit of empathy, it can't survive. So if I call you catalyst for change, it's great. But it makes a terrible life companion. And I'm mad all the time. And so, the other one that's dangerous? Do you want me to just really mess y'all around? Let's take it. Resentment.
Oh, yeah.
Raise your hand if you got a little bit of resentment in you. So I was talking to Mark Brackett, and he leads this Yale School for Emotion Study. And I said, so on resentment, this was right before we went on live on the podcast. I'm like, so resentment is part of the anger family, right? I got a lot of that. And he said, no, it's not. I was like, what? And he said, anger is part of the envy family. And I said, well, what do you mean? And he goes, well, what do you get resentful for? And I'm like, why am I still working and everybody else is not working? And he said, do you think maybe you're envious that you can't set boundaries and stop working and taking care of everything? He was rude. Only until you experience success do you know it's scarier.
Like, when you haven't experienced success yet, that's legitimately worse. But then once you, here's the frame. Don't think it's gonna solve for that. Success is not gonna solve for the fear. Because now you're like, once I became, I guess, successful, then I became strung out. Because everyone that said, can you do this? Can you do that? Yeah, yes. Because what if I say no, and then the jobs go away?
Honey, what if I say no and the jobs go away? Success doesn't solve for the fear. Brene was preaching, but we must move on. We took a break for food, and Shakia and I ended up at this place called Twisted Boot Burgers. They had a ton of stuff on the menu. I got the Vegabond. And I don't know about you, but having camel meat on the menu with only one vegan option felt kind of crazy to me. Anyways, the place was extra quirky, and everyone got treated like a celeb. I was Cardi B. They had craft sodas. I hate that word. It's pop. Craft pop. They had craft pops and a pickle wall. Now, I was a little leery about the self-serve pickles, but it was what it was. Sweet tea and unsweet tea, plus an RV for a bar. The salt and pepper shakers were funny too. After that, we went to this very Texan Walmart for snacks and PJs and headed back to the field for more talks.
Goodness of God, when we cannot remember how love is a good thing, we will catastrophize love. We will make everything a catastrophe because that's the only thing we remember is the pain. Do you know that the Bible tells us over 1,200 times to remember? Don't forget not, remember. Why? Because God knows how He created us. We have a propensity to remember the bad and to forget the good. When you say, well, what kind of guy you like? I like somebody who's nice and Christian, but I do like a little edge. I like a little bad boy. Notes to self would say, bad boys can be good in bed, but not necessarily conversation-wise. Not all of them. Bad boys, sometimes when they are taking advantage of me, will drive me to work and keep my car to go visit the side chick and get a lift.
Yes, that is the granny and the gramps from the internet.
Hear that crunch? That's from the peppers.
Mm-hmm.
What it mean?
Need a little spice for hold still. Oh yeah, it tastes right now. I'm ready.
Very cute.
Yeah, that's really good.
That's good?
Mm-hmm. While you had a little sandwich, and I might as well have some nice tea and chips to go with it.
You want me to make that for you? I promised God I was going to see about you. So, here comes the sandwich.
Them being from Detroit makes so much sense to me. If you know, you know.
So whatever I gotta do it right now. This is the day. It's my day. It's your day. The devil knows it's the day. Slap your sister and say, do it today. To say, I'm gonna keep walking in the name of Jesus. And whatever is in front of me, God is gonna.
This lady right here preached us down in there. I mean down, honey.
And as we we're monitoring moments, and we're monitoring glory and the presence and the essence of God. And there was a sound that you were making when we were in the back. We were transitioning into other things, but you began to release a sound, and that sound drew her back out here and drew others back out here because something was happening.
Pastor Teray talked about the way things are changing in the world, and he had a sit down about technology that helps with breathing and allergies. It was very interesting.
Because very rarely, baby girl, very rarely can you get 40,000 people to touch and agree on anything. And when this word started flowing and God started speaking to you, whether you at home playing, waiting on somebody to come back to home, or if you were out in the field looking for somebody that you love, or if the ball hasn't even been thrown to you, in this room, everybody has an opportunity to be on the field. David, come on, you need to go. We the others there. This is children's church. This is children's church. We the others there. A mother is talking. That's right. We gotta let these young people find their way, just like I did with my drunk, tied up self. Oh, no. Oh my God.
The pajama panel, though, got very real. Too real. They touched on the gap between the generations and sex and all that. The event was really great. Like, really great. Yvonne Orji plays way too doggone much. I did miss the closing because I headed out the next day. Not without seeing a random chicken and stopping at Cinnaholic first, though. The airport was an experience. I personally hate flying without a mask. I don't care. The germs in that recycled air on the plane, I cannot. But there was not a single one available for purchase in the entire airport. Nobody had one anywhere. Not security, not the cleaning staff, no one. Shout out to the woman of God, though, that had an extra one in her purse. The airport did, however, have a CPR training machine, which I thought was dope. My vegan cinnamon roll from Cinnaholic was everything in that sky, and I made it home safe and sound. I've always loved traveling to Dallas, and I'm very glad I got to see my Neo Roxy this time around, and that I got to be part of something so special. I am so grateful for all the ways my faith was boosted by going, and I can't wait to see what God has planned for me next. Don't forget, my notes are available at the link in the description. And for future references, you can catch my adventures in real time by following me everywhere at I'm 2 Times. I will see you in the next one. Love you. Bye.
Get it 2 times.